welcome to QI, where tonight, once again, the eyes have it. So, which international head of state snubbed Jesse Owens after his triumph at the 1936 Olympics?
Oh, go on.
Yes, go.
Hitler.
Oddly enough, it's not true. It's what the whole world thinks, but it isn't true. And we know this from no greater source than Jesse Owens himself. In fact, it's a really rather sad and a very typically, I'm afraid, unfortunate story. Jesse Owens, as you probably know, won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. The Olympics were stage managed, of course, by Hitler. Now, on the first day, Hitler congratulated only German winners. And someone said to him that he should either congratulate all the winners or none of them. So he said, well, in that case, I won't congratulate any winners. So he didn't snub Jesse Owens at all. In fact, according to Jesse Owens, he said, when I passed the Chancellor, he arose, waved his hand at me, and I waved back at him. Hitler didn't snub me. It was...
King of England.
No, FDR.
Oh, bastard.
The president of his own country. He didn't personally congratulate Jesse Owens. Were you looking at that?
The bloke on the far right is just going like that.
That bloke on the far right
to be fair,
is called Hermann Goering.
I think surely they're all on the far right.
Brilliant. It's usual amongst George Formby fans, I believe, that they teach themselves the banjolele. And as you are one, we have a banjolele. Can you delight us with some Formby?
Am I on the spot?
I don't know if it's tuned or not, but I mean, just do what you can.
Don't worry about that.
We'd be very happy.
My dog has fleas, is what you need to remember. My dog has... Well, this one doesn't have fleas, he has distemper. When I'm cleaning windows, there's got another bit that goes... 8 o'clock, a girl awakes. At 10 past 8, a bath she takes. At 15:15, my ladder breaks. When I'm cleaning windows... The bit that goes... There's a famous movie queen, she looks a beauty on the screen. She's more like 80 than 18. When I'm cleaning windows, she takes her hair down or behind, then takes down her nevermind, and finally takes down the blind. When I'm cleaning windows...
Cheeky! Brilliant. Oh. Now for something terribly important. Why did the MOD want the PM to join the AA?
Is the President David Cameron PM or any?
No, the Prime Minister at the time was Harold Macmillan.
Did the MOD want the country to become part of the temperance movement? Was there some...
No, it's not that AA.
The Automobile Association.
The Automobile Association, exactly. It's that AA.
Really?
Yes. So when Harold Macmillan was Prime Minister, what was going on in the world around that time?
Cold War.
The Cold War was at its absolute height. And they knew that Kennedy had this system where wherever he was, he could retaliate in case the Soviets sent missiles. And they thought, well, we'd better have a similar system. And they thought, well, there's Lord Mountbatten, who was the chief of staff at the time, and they said, well, you better have men going around with the Prime Minister who've got radios and things so that in case there's news of a Soviet attack. And they said, oh, no, that's far too expensive. And then the Prime Minister said, I don't want people following me around, going around me all the time. I said, well, we use the system the AA use. So basically the idea was that they would get a signal from the AA to the car if the Soviets had launched a strike. But that would mean the Prime Minister could then stop off at the nearest telephone and issue the order for a counter-strike. And there were some very exciting memos. This is very British, this. You'll like this very much. Brian Saunders, who was the private secretary of the Minister, said, it will presumably be necessary for someone to make a daily or weekly call to the AA control station as a check that they're in working order. And I understand that if an emergency arose while the Prime Minister was on the road, the proposal is to use the radio to get him to a telephone. Perhaps we should see that our drivers are provided with 4 pennies. So they really thought it through. So the Soviets, imagine stopping the road. All right, we've got the signal. There are bombs on the way from the Soviet Union. We stop off at the nearest kiosk, and nobody's got any money. But they thought about that. The drivers might, but no. Bligh, the Prime Minister's private principal secretary, replied, "Shortage of pennies should not present any difficulties, such as you envisage. In such cases, it's a simple matter to have the cost of any telephone call transferred by dialing 100 and requesting reversal of the charge." This is all true. And this doesn't take any appreciable extra time. The system works in both normal and STD telephone kiosks, and our drivers are well aware of it. So we were safe all the time. The Prime Minister would have got a message, said, "Look, there's a red kiosk," would have stopped, got in and called up the operator and said, "I want to call the Ministry of Defence armed bunker, and could you reverse the charge?"
Scouting for Boys has got something on suicide.
It has. It has an amazing entry on suicide. Maybe you'd like to hear it.
I would love to hear it.
When a man has gone so far as to attempt suicide, they don't count women for some reason, a scout should know what to do with him. In a case where the would-be suicide has taken poison, give milk and make him vomit, which is done by tickling the inside of the throat with a finger or a feather. In the case of hanging, cut down the body at once, taking care to support it with one arm while cutting the cord. A tenderfoot, which is scouting for novice.
Oh, they make that sound very simple.
It does, doesn't it? A novice is sometimes inclined to be timid about handling an insensible man or dead man, or even seeing blood. Well, he won't be much use till he gets over such nonsense. There you are. Slaughtering cattle, advice to young boys on how to slaughter cattle. Maybe. If you're a beginner in slaughtering with a knife, it's sometimes useful to first drop the animal insensible by a heavy blow with a big hammer or the back of a felling axe on top of the head.
Kindest thing to do, really.
Stopping a runaway horse?
He doesn't give advice on that, does he?
He does, yes.
Lie down.
That would stop the horse.
Oh, no, they don't tread on you.
Now, what you don't do is stand in front of it waving your arms. That's the mistake to make. What you should do is go to the side and basically just ease it towards the side of a wall or the side of a house.
Oh, yeah.
And then catch
Well,
it.
yeah.
When it's running, you ease a running horse to the side of a wall. Don't worry, lads, I'll just ease this running horse to the side of a
It will
wall.
see you out of the corner of its eye and it will be pushed towards and it will slow it down naturally, according to Baden-Powell.
Give us a hand. I can't. Uncle Pete's hung himself.
What about saving someone who's fallen in front of a train?
Oh, don't.
Oh, well, I know this. You ease the train up against the wall.
If the train is very close, lie flat between the rails, make the man do the same till the train passes over, while everyone else will be running about screaming and excited and doing nothing.
You're supposed to jump on the track with him?
Yeah.
And push his head down?
Yeah, keep
yes,
lie
I'm going to
flat.
do that,
Does that
yeah.
work, though? Is there such a big gap between
think
the wheels that
some
you
people
It
people
does
have
in
done that?
movies, but I wouldn't be the one to try it.
That'd be great if you hung yourself and then a scout cut you down and you went, "Oh, well, don't worry, I'll jump under a train."
And again...
He's here again! All right, mate.
I've just done voice for them, so that if you have Tom or Garmin...
You try and have a look.
So,
It goes, turn
do-
left. Now, the interesting thing...
No, do be...
The most daft thing, you would not believe it, but...
Did you do it as if you were talking to me? That's the worry. Left, you moron.
If you take a wrong turn, instead of going make a U-turn, does the hooter come on?
I put my voice on Katie's. When she drives, it's me.
Oh, well, that's nice, because you can put your own voice
But
on,
you
can't
can do it, yeah, you can record it. Left, 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 left! Which is funny the first couple of times.
Yes, that's the problem.
I had a sat-nav, and the Nullarbor plane in Australia, big,
That goes
long...
on between Adelaide and Perth.
Yeah, the longest straight road in the world.
Yeah.
And I saw my bike, turned it on, and it said, drive forward for 2 days. And the rest of it, and it went, then turn left. But the stupid thing was, it was such a long road, I missed the left-hand
Patrick Litchfield once told me a very good story. He'd been asked to...
Beautiful name drop.
He was lovely. He was such... Did you know him?
I did,
He was
yeah.
such a lovely man. And he'd been asked to photograph a royal wedding. It was taking place at Hampton Court. And the Queen told him that it was going to be the first time that all the crowned heads of Europe were actually together and were going to be available for a photograph. And he said, "Well, I know them all, Mum." And he said, "Yes, everyone except Princess Catherine of Greece. She's hardly ever out. She's very elderly. She's in a wheelchair." He said, "Oh, right." And he said, "It's very difficult putting the photograph together with all these crowned heads, about 60 of them, because everybody's Mum and so and so on." And he suddenly noticed over in the corner an elderly lady in a wheelchair. So he said, "Oh, Mum." So he went over over and it pushed her into the photograph like this and took the picture. And the Queen said, Patrick, who's that woman? Princess Catherine of Nations, no, it isn't. Anyway, apparently, some bloke had been on a tour of the house with his mother. Needed the lavatory, and he just opened a door and shoved his mother through just to keep her quiet while he went to the lavatory. And Patrick gave her a Polaroid of this elderly woman with all the crowned heads.
Fantastic. Have a look at this glass tank behind you and tell me how many balls there are in there.
1, 2, 3.
Well done, Alan.
4.
So far, so good.
Yeah. 5. Yeah. 5.
The worst episode in the National Lottery.
So how many are in there, would you say? 5. 5. Well, it looked like 5, didn't it? You might be rather surprised to know that there are actually over 1,000.
Thousands.
And we can show you perhaps a better view of how many there are. What's that? Look. They're all invisible, and in fact, we have an example of precisely these kinds of... There they are.
Yeah, they're gooey.
They're really weird. They're called hydrogel beads.
Are they edible?
I wouldn't want to take responsibility, but I don't think they'll do you any harm.
Try one.
What are they... What are they used for?
Well, they have a commercial use, actually.
Oh, I broke it.
Oh, no. Is it burst?
Yeah, it burst.
No, it's sort of gone into pieces, actually.
It's like... Oh, yes, it's rather strange little material.
Oh,
can you guess their commercial use?
Packing things.
Oh. No, flower arranging is one.
Is it for packing goldfish when you get them through the...
Why aren't they making battleships out of this stuff?
Isn't it? Well, who knows? All kinds of new
Submarines.
uses
Make
may
a
be
submarine
found.
out of it.
I have to say, this feels gorgeous.
It's quite good, isn't it? Oh, it's quite a good feel.
Addictive, isn't it?
It's really... There's yeah, there's something quite gorgeous about that. Mm.
Yeah.
It's just...
Might have a play around with that later.
Yep, you might. Another use is the manufacture of... Behave.
Disgusting.
Another use...
Jack's going to put his willy in it.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I've already put it in, that one.
It's weird, because when he put it in, you couldn't see it.
It has the same refractive index. As
Think of a comeback.
what variety of lettuce did they serve on board the Titanic?
Iceberg.
Well, bless you for...
I took one for the team, as it were.
You did take one for the team, no. The iceberg lettuce had been developed in Pennsylvania, but it was not available in Europe until many years later. The answer is, we don't know.
Oh,
we do know there were 700
So
heads of
close to
lettuce
doing
on
it.
board.
Make them sound like heads of state.
I know, doesn't
The
it?
most grand of all the lettuce, the head of lettuce.
Why did they only have 700 lettuce? Because how many people were on
I don't
the
know,
Titanic?
maybe. Either they'd already eaten that much and that's how much was saved, or they just didn't order that. Maybe
Well, they
I don't
saved the
understand
lettuce, but not the people. 1,500 people died on that ship.
Sorry.
Get the lettuce for crying out loud.
I'm a horrible thing. I've misread my card. It was hold the front page, 7,000 heads of lettuce.
One of the bloody things sank then. It was full of lettuce. Before they even started.
Lettuces float.
But
Well, why did it sink then? What is wrong with these people?
What about the durable Mike Malloy? Have you heard of him? Now, here's a man who really wouldn't die. This is a very extraordinary story. The durable Mike Malloy. We're in the age of Prohibition, and we're in New York City, and we've got a gang of criminals, because obviously anyone who runs a speakeasy is a criminal by definition during Prohibition, and they hit on a scam. They thought, we'll get some drunks, we'll get them to sign life insurance forms to our benefit, and then we'll just feed them so much alcohol that they'll die, and we'll get all the money. And what can go wrong?
Had they never met Irish people before?
That's the problem.
They were
They ran out of
bankrupt.
booze.
So
That's what happened.
owner Anthony Marino hatched this plan.
We're gonna
Got
make a
this
bigger pub.
Irishman, he was Irishman, called Mike Malloy, and they befriended him, they plied him with free drinks, and they got him to sign 3 different life insurance policies amounting to nearly $2,000, which was a lot of money in those days. After several weeks of free booze, they started to get a bit impatient because he wasn't
Kept
turning
singing
a
the
hair.
same songs.
So they started adding
God, he's doing that one again.
They started
Oh, daddy boy.
Seems
the
tipsy.
pipe.
They started adding antifreeze. He collapsed a bit, but he kept coming back for more drink. So they then gave him drinks that were filled with turpentine, horse liniment, rat poison, rotten oysters in wood alcohol, and sardines mixed with carpet tacks.
Do we have any record of what he's... Oh,
None of this
thanks
had
very
any
much.
effect.
I
Yeah.
suppose if it's on the house...
Yeah.
He's downing that.
So next, they got him drunk, they stripped him naked, this is midwinter in New York, and they poured 5 gallons of cold water on him before dumping him on a snowbank. If you've ever been in New York midwinter, it is seriously cold. It gets to minus 20 degrees
Why
sometimes.
don't they just shoot him? I think a bullet hole might have been...
Yeah, it might have been a bit of a giveaway.
Oh, I don't know. I think naked on a mound of snow is quite a giveaway.
Well, he was drunk.
Drunk having sex with a snowman.
Yeah, that's all right. But the police found him, and he turned up the next day saying, "You'll never guess what happened. They found me in Central Park on the snow naked. I don't know how that happened, but they took me to a hostel and I got me these nice new clothes." And so he carried on drinking, and they were really getting desperate. They paid a cab driver $150 to knock him over. After 2 attempts, they left him sprawled in the road, awaiting news of his death. Several weeks later, he came fresh out of hospital, turning up looking for a drink. So finally, they challenged him to a rigged drinking contest. They got him really, really pissed and then pushed a gas hose in his throat and gassed him to death.
Oh.
So they cheated.
Yeah.
But a few months later, don't worry, they started squabbling amongst themselves. And they all went down the river to Sing Sing and got fried in the electric chair, the whole gang of them.
The thing that I find interesting about that story is when you said they put a gas hose in his mouth and cheated, the audience went, oh. But before that, when they were trying to kill the man, you were going, well, that just sounds like bloody good fun. And then the gas hose, you went, yeah, that's not playing straight.
No, it's not cricket. Not cricket.
It's an interesting morality you're working with. Take a good, hard look at yourself.
There he is. Well, that's the story of durable Mike Malloy, a hero of his time. I've got a little task for you to do, a little Christmas party game. I've got these phone books here, and what's happened is they've been interleaved. That's all it is. There's no glue or anything. They've literally, like a pack of cards, one page inside another. So it's two...
That must have taken ages.
So it did. Our props people are very proud of their work. There you are.
We'll share.
All I want you to do, you've got ropes there, is just pull them apart. So you can take one each.
Can't be done.
Go on, pull them apart.
It can't be done.
Go on. There you go. Try. You can't,
It
can
can't
you?
be done.
You
on,
literally
Brad.
can't. It's quite extraordinary.
Oh.
Strong as Brian is,
Go on, try and pull, Brian, pull.
all it is...
Sean's alive!
How come your water wasn't spilt? That's magical.
Yes, it's an old trick. Me and Brian have been doing this trick for years.
That is, I think, proof
I'm trying to
positive.
sit on top of my tipped-up chair.
A man as strong as Brian, he may be able to pull Sean off his chair, but it can't be done. In fact, you need £8,000 of force in order to do it.
Really?
It really is quite bizarre. It's friction. And it's just replicated each time. I know, it's so...
This
if
time
you loosen them...
This time it's me. This time it's personal.
having a tantrum.
Still can't do it.
Now, how can you tell which of these chicks is male and which is female?
Oh, this must be. This must be.
Oh, I'm afraid not. No. Had you said that in the 1920s, the answer would have indeed have been nobody knows. But in 1929, the Japanese astonished the world by revealing that they found a way to sex chicks, as you say, in other words, to determine their gender. It sounds so wrong, doesn't it? I know how to sex a chick. Yeah.
I can do it.
It seems impossible with the naked eye to do it because but the day-old chick, you have to wait till they're 6 weeks old. In the past, you used to have to. And in the egg-laying industry, that's a heck of a waste because, I I'm afraid to say that the male chicks are of no use whatsoever to the egg-laying industry.
Gassed on the first day. Enjoy your eggs.
That's why... Yeah, right, OK.
So how do you tell the sex... How do you sex a chicken?
Well, it's very complex, that's the point. And it's highly... No, we do know. It's highly paid. And the discovery lowered the price of eggs worldwide overnight. That's how important it was. And the Zen Nippon Chick Sexing School was founded... No, you're laughing. I know you're laughing. No, it's true. It's true.
You're looking at a graduate.
And they taught their sexers in such a rigorous way that only 5 to 10% of applicants received accreditation. But when you passed, you were paid huge sums of money.
You are a chick master.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars a day. It was a really big business. And it still is. It still is.
How do you know? I know. You don't know.
There was one hatch... The best in the business can sex around 1,200 chicks an hour, and there are some incredibly talented ones who can have one in each hand. And can do... The point is you pick them up and you just go like that, pop them in bins. Girl bin, boy bin, girl bin, boy bin. And you can do 1,200.
So something to do with the weight?
No, it's not. They do a slight squeeze. They do a slight... You won't like this. They do a slight squeeze.
And if they go, ow! You go.
That's naughty.
If they go,
steady on me.
It's a boy.
They have a cloacal tract, which is their reproductive and their excretory tract. And there is a slight difference in the ridges and bumps, sort of innies and outies that they have. So you do a slight squeeze. If it's too big, you throttle them on it, or the outie becomes an innie. So it's a real skill. This is something I vaguely knew about growing up in Norfolk, because in Norfolk there is a community of Vietnamese turkey sexers who live... I know it sounds mad.
I can never watch Platoon again! You've ruined Apocalypse Now for me.
I'm sorry about
What sexy chicken? You tell me now!
This. I know it sounds
They live in tunnels under the fence.
This is not in the fens, it's in Norfolk, he said. Defensively, the fens came
So tell me they work for Bernard, please.
Well, of course, yeah, the Bernard Matthews is the largest employer for...
Mr. Matthew, this one beautiful.
God, imagine being conned by a pig salesman.
It's called buying a pig in a poke.
Yeah.
It actually is a phrase for it. Pig salesman used to be dishonest.
Really? Can you see that, Nina? What, pig in a poke? Can I see that?
Is that what that means?
Go on, say pig in a poke.
That is a challenge to a ventriloquist. Come on. No, if I say pig in a poke, it's fine.
You say it, Gran.
No. Go on, Gran. Pig in a poke.
Yay! That was impressive. Very good. How long do the best hugs last?
20 seconds.
That's a very long hug. I would start getting embarrassed and restless if someone hugged me for 20 seconds, but...
Do you want to test that? Do you want to test that?
Yeah, no, please. Oh, hello. Here we go.
That was lovely. Yep. I'm on the clock. I'm on the clock. Yep, I'm on the clock. That was... Oh, God, this is too long. It is really bad. Oh, it is really bad. This is too long. It is really bad. Oh, we're embarrassed now.
Did you say I'm on the clock?
On the clock, yeah.
And lovely. That's got to be at least 20 seconds, and that was embarrassing.
That was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, no...
See if you can beat it.
I've been waiting years to do this.
Well, if you like jogging, I'm playing tiddlywinks and sod the lot of you.
Right. That was lovely. That was unusual. I wasn't expecting that response, but it was charming. You're both wearing very nice aftershave, by the way.
Hang on, do you want your watch back?
Which well-known invention is the wickedness which lurks in the belly and deserves to dwell in the cesspool? The wickedness which lurks in the belly Do we know the last
Sunny Delight.
Do we?
Oh, I know.
Yes,
Gran?
We know, because this is... yes, because I'm a belly speaker.
You are a belly speaker, ventriloquism. That's it, so you're a tummy speaker. And it was considered to be a possession by demons, if someone could have this voice come from their tummy that didn't seem to come out of their mouth, or through their voice, you used to say. And there was a patriarch of Constantinople by the name of Photius, who once excommunicated the Pope. And he was the one... There you are. Have a go. Have a go.
Oh, well, we all got these. Here with a Pope.
Yes. I'm very impressed.
Oh, hang on.
The weird thing is, that puppet is a ventriloquist, and its lips didn't move when you said that. Yes. So it is operating you, which is fantastic.
It really is a lot. It really is a lot harder than it looks.
Yes.
You've had a stroke, dear.
Hello.
It's like E.T.
Hey,
Oh, no, don't, Gran. No, let's
I am Bogdan. I like you very much. You are an attractive lady.
You're too small for me, dear.
Oh,
If I sat on you and never see you light of day again.
come with me. I have Oyster card.
Are you moving your lips?
How about
You do look like you're on a stroke. You're ready to...
Sean, let's see if you can do any better. Are you hoping we're going to...
I'm not moving my lips.
He's whispering.
Oh, sorry.
Are you
It's a
hoping...
left-handed puppet, isn't it? Sorry.
I'll speak.
He's poking his...
That's the only thing I'm sensitive is...
Pieces of eight. Pieces of eight.
You don't actually have to stretch your mouth.
That's the only one I can do. I can't do it any other way. I can't do it.
Hey!
Oh, no! Oh, I've broken it.
You have.
What is it?
Bill Bailey. Dear. What a wretched disappointment to us all you are. I hope
I can't get the talking to... I can't get the talking to you. Well, you're an idiot. Well, that works. It's very difficult.
You have to look like you're listening when you're talking.
You look at her when she's talking.
Yes, and you have to look like you're listening when you are, in fact, talking. It's quite difficult. You know, the first rule of show business, make everything look easy. Sorry.
Yes, that's true.
This halflet over here. Milking it for all it's worth here.
More celebrities line up to take on the Eggheads here on BBC HD on Sunday at 6:20. And next this evening, comedy continues with Family Guy.